Thank God, thank. So,
my cock is massive. This start to the podcast might be duller than Tim Ferriss's.
Well, you told me off. Well, actually, episode 54, not 55, Marvin. You told me off when I started introducing it properly. Hi, everyone. Welcome to OTT episode 54, Secrets to Seamless Promotion. It's really great to have you here, isn't it, Connor?
No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that.
Fucking make your mind up. Look, it's fucking Friday. I know it's Monday for these guys, but it's Friday for us. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I've done yoga.
Oh, so that's why you
fucking beer.
I want a beer. I want a beer.
I want a beer.
I wasn't fucking talking about you, was I? That's why I said the word
the weekend. You just fuck off for the weekend. I didn't leave me to the work.
I do a half day Saturday, half day Sunday.
Hey, what?
I do a half a day Saturday, Sunday.
Bollocks, but you never answer fucking messages.
Well, yeah, I turn them off. It's called deep work, focused work.
Fuck off. It's called deep laziness.
And anyway, you're moaning about a book that you promised you'd have done about a fucking 8 months ago.
It's changed because of the models we developed.
Yes, our models are sexy.
They're very fucking sexy, and they're effective too.
They are.
So you can't listen to it. Give us your fucking money.
If the models are so sexy, we'll wait until our guys see them at the events. We have the sexiest models, and these listeners can see them too.
We do have sex models, and we're not talking about swimwear models, although they do occasionally turn up.
Oh yeah, they're in my entourage.
Your entourage? Bollocks, they come for me.
I'm a handsome
Hey, who's the one? They throw the knickers at. Who's the one? They throw the knickers at me.
Who's the one that pays them to throw the knickers at you? Me.
Better than paying for it myself, isn't it?
Honestly, I have to take them to Victoria's Secrets to buy new ones and then buy them perfume so they can spray perfume on it. Because I tell them, drop your kecks, and they've all got fucking crusty discharge in their fucking knickers.
Didn't Victoria's Secret go bust?
It's still about. They're still selling. At least I hope so. I've got an order on the way. Got an order of tights on the way.
Huh?
Do you know what the funny thing is? I had to let a plumber in.
I'm sure.
Victoria Secret Bank.
I was pretty sure they went bust. Perhaps I'm thinking about Ann Summers.
The UK arm did.
Of what, Ann Summers?
No, Victoria's Secrets. The UK arm of Victoria's Secret has fallen into administration.
Okay. Now, when you think about it, that's pretty fucking dire, isn't it? Where you get a shop selling lingerie, and let's face it, their models are pretty fucking hot and their photography is superb. You think when a chain store like that goes into administration, there's something fucking seriously wrong with their business model. What are they not doing?
Seriously wrong.
I mean, are they, again, I genuinely don't know this, were they expensive or are they cheap? Did they do money off offers or what?
Their problem, and I know exactly what it is they introduced a new cheap line. It used to be very high end. So I'm sure you've heard of the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
I've heard of it. I don't pay any attention to it except when it appears on the TV or in a magazine so I can jerk off to it. But
that used to be massive. So that used to be massive. They got the Kardashians involved, and then they introduced Victoria Secret Sport, I think it was called, which is the lower end, which kind of devalued having these mega stars at the most famous fashion show in the world.
Gotcha.
And they cancelled it last year because people just weren't as interested because they were no longer something to aspire to because everyone could afford Victoria's Secrets.
Yeah, they say that's the fucking problem. I mean, it's great to think you can hit that. I mean, that's the classic example was actually writing about this in the book today. It's a classic example of people think they can sell cheaper on a lower margin because that's effectively what they're doing. They can reduce their margin to make up for it with sales volume. What they don't understand is that on, say, a 35% gross margin, if you just cut your price by 10%, you've got to increase your volume of sales by double. Well, that's no mean feat, you know, in any fucking market, let alone something like that. Especially when you've got the high end to contend with and people losing interest in it because they've devalued the brand. I mean, that's. And I'm also guessing not only would I don't know how the cheaper stuff would have sold, what their margins were like on that, but I would almost guarantee that the people who maybe bought the high end religiously would have been put off from doing it because anyone can afford it, and if anyone can afford it, people who really want to don't want to anymore.
Well, that's exactly
like a Rolls Royce. If everyone could afford a Rolls Royce, there's nothing to aspire to. So while these people who currently drive one as a status symbol as much as anything else, why would they bother? They'd just go to another high end. You know, it makes no fucking sense.
That's exactly what happened, John, because they had to cancel the fashion show due to a lack of interest. And I'll be honest, I've been in their shops, and they used to be very high end. Very expensive underwear, quite quiet, dimly lit, quite sexy in the shops. And then they introduced it's where I get my tights from. I said it. And then they introduced the lower end, and all of a sudden the shops became, you wouldn't want to set foot in it. It was full of teenage girls rummaging through the sales bins. You couldn't move in there. It was a mess. Yeah, you couldn't find a thing. Well, it turned into Primark, basically. Everyone was looking for cheap fucking thongs.
It's like they're fucking knickers. Primark. Right.
I think Primark's top seller is knickers, John. Seriously.
This was but that's probably in places like Stone Market and Ipswich where the girls wear Primark knickers if they wear any at all.
Be surprised.
But here's the thing, right? This was pre-COVID you're talking about, I guess.
Yes, I haven't been in there since COVID.
Before COVID, you know they have those hand sanitizer dispensers everywhere now? Mm-hmm. In Victoria's Secret pre-COVID, do they have fucking lube dispensers? So you can walk in a handful of lube and just fucking stroking your fucking meat. I mean, there's nothing better than a wank with lube, is there? So my friends tell me anyway.
Oh yeah, nothing better.
Funny, you've gone really quiet.
Nothing better, I've heard.
So my friends tell me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
through the grapevine.
The other thing with Victoria's Secret, I suppose, is they took their eye off the ball, which is all obviously part of Secret's, you know, the secrets to seamless promotion. Because one of the things there is having a focus. You know, there's 5 things we really need to focus on. I think Victoria's Secret kind of fucking dropped the ball here. The first thing is decide whom you're selling to. Now, to think you're selling, so Victoria's Secret is a great example of this. If you're selling just to women, well, that's roughly half the population. So 30, well, take into account kids, say 1 in every 4 is a child, say 2 out of half the kids. So you're probably looking at about 15 million, maybe 20 million adult women in the UK, something like that. Are you saying all of them are likely candidates for Victoria's Secret underwear? No, especially if it's high end. I mean, there's no reason for them not to, but it's unlikely most 80-year-old women are going to be wearing Victoria's Secret underwear. They've got different priorities. You know, they got the massive buckle under attack knickers and things, you know. So they kind of lost sight who they were to, and that's the first thing. Victoria's Secret, they should have kept their focus on probably 20s to 30s, maybe early 40s, affluent women, professional women, that kind of thing. But to guess, I don't know, it's not my business. But, you know, decide who you're selling to, figure out what to say to them. Once you know, and unless you know who they are, you don't know what to say to them. But again, the message you're giving with cheap Victoria's Secret sports underwear to a teenage girl going to Ibiza to get a pelvis broken is different from the message we're giving to a successful female lawyer who wants to feel and look sexy under a fucking power dressing suit, you know? And by the way, despite my language and perhaps tone of voice, I'm implying no value judgment here. It's just my filthy way. I don't give a shit what underwear women wear or don't wear.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
Actually, to be quite honest, if I'm having sex with a girl, I prefer her to be naked, to be honest.
You don't want to pull the panties to the side?
No, not really.
This is going to end up on LinkedIn.
Lingerie
my old man shares these
lingerie
videos.
looks nice on a woman. Lingerie looks nice on a woman, but when you're actually going down for the meat and potatoes, you know, I don't want fucking rough edges grating on my belly, you know? Or anywhere else for that matter. Anyway, beside the point. And of course, once you decide who you're selling to and you figured what you're going to say to them to sell this underwear, you can find out where they are. And, you know, the finding out where they are and what to say to them, you can do concurrently. Until you know who they are, you don't know where to find them because they'll be in different places. And again, with Victoria's Secret, everything was, what they were trying to do is to become all things to all men and women. Well, all women anyway. And obviously they weren't. And of course, once you found out where they are and you know what to say to them, all you got to do is post your message relentlessly. Same thing, keep hitting on it. And always be seeking to take that sale forward. You know, one of the things I see, I mean, probably not so much in Victoria's Secret because they're not so much one-off purchases, but it's not a long sales cycle. But in a lot of businesses, you've got a fairly lengthy sales cycle. And as we discovered yesterday in one of the conversations with the elite guys, they're having meetings with people who are just not qualified to have a qualified. They're not qualified to have a meeting with them. We got a guy selling software talking to engineers who haven't got any authority to say yay or nay. Well, that's a waste of everyone's fucking time. It's a waste of the engineer's time. They can be enthusiastic as you fucking like. But if they haven't got authority to say yes, whether that's yes, we'll buy it, or yes, I'm going to put this forward to the MD and he's, you know, I've got some sway with him, you're wasting your time. So, you know, those 5 things: decide who you're selling to, figure out what to say to them, find out where they are, post your message to them relentlessly, getting in front of them, and always when it's appropriate, if you're in that kind of business where you've got more than a snap sale, always be seeking to take the sale forward. And even if you've got a snap sale, ask for the fucking sale. The thing I say on LinkedIn, people, they're always posting stuff about them or value bombs or trying to develop relationships, or worse, asking for fucking engagement. Very few people actually ask for a direct action. We would ask, visit this website, DM us. They're the 2 main ones for us, and sometimes visit subscribe to the podcast. I don't think we've got any other calls to action, and everything we ever post has a fucking call to action. One of those 3: DM us, hit the website, or join the podcast, listen to the podcast, watch the video. You know,
yeah,
everyone should be doing that, because if you don't have a call to action, it's not marketing, it's just information or entertainment, which has its place. But if you can do both together, which you can, why not?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That wasn't a genuine question, by the way. That was just a rhetorical question.
No, I know. And sorry if I was distracted at any point in there. I'm going to say my partner, just because I know it pisses you off, is poorly in bed, bless her. There's currently a plumber around. And earlier on, he was looking for an airing cupboard. And I said to him, there's no airing cupboard. He clearly didn't believe me and just walked into my bedroom where my poorly girlfriend is.
She's poorly. What's up with
her? She had a COVID jab yesterday, so it's the aftermath of that.
Oh, fucking pussy. So he's making the sandwiches and getting the beer then?
She still is, just there's a bit of snot here and there.
I mean, be a little bit lenient. Don't slap her too hard if she's slow with the beer and sandwich.
Sometimes you have to give him a slap to, you know, remind him who's boss, and, you know.
Well, obviously, yeah, but be a little bit fucking thoughtful. At least slap her on the, you know, not near the jab side, you know.
No, I'll use the inside of my hand rather than the back of my hand with my rings.
You don't want to be too rough, do you? But of course, one of the ways. What we're seeing now, moving away from Victoria's Secret and underwear to things more in our domain, the tradesmen, especially the domestic. We're talking to a couple of guys, friends of friends over the last couple of days. They're all really busy. And one of the things people are saying, and we've actually had this said to people, we had a guy going to rejoin Elite, probably more than a year ago now. He'd said yes, and then his girlfriend persuaded him no, because he said, I can't afford to take on any more work. I don't know how he's doing right now, but I bet it's not very good. The thing is, the time to be promoting yourself is when you're too busy to take on more work.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing, I mean, you know, this is all predicated on you knowing what you're doing and having high-end offers and a proper sales process, not maybe just selling fucking underwear. Because if you are delivering a quality outcome, a quality product, and you are well up there with the big boys in terms of how people perceive you, people will wait. You know, you get these Amish guys who are selling $250,000 kitchens. I very much doubt anyone is expecting to get a kitchen out of there in the next 3 weeks. You know, you know you're in it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know what the waiting list is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was several months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I don't know what the waiting list is for a Rolls Royce, but I bet it's fucking fairly substantial. You know, I don't think you can just walk into many places and just buy a Lambo or a Roller or a Porsche. You know, there is a waiting list, and even if there wasn't a genuine waiting list, they'd fucking manufacture one if they got any sense.
Yeah.
I remember Dan Kennedy saying he would, even when he was desperate for work as a up and coming guy, he would not answer the phone. And then when people would leave a message, he would not get back to them for several days, even though he was desperate for the money, because he didn't want to give them the impression he wasn't busy. You know? So again, anyone listening to this, if you've got a genuine high-end offer, so things are working together seamlessly, you know, so you're not just making this up as you go along. You've got a proper sales process in place, attract, seduce, and sell. Don't be afraid to reply to inquiries within, rather than that day, that minute, maybe 2 days later. Maybe send a pro forma, thank you for your inquiry, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And then get back to them and be very standoffish about it, and rather than jumping forward, say, yes, we can help, what you want us to do what I do now is, when people come to me with that attitude, it's a case of, well, hang on a minute, I don't know anything about you. What is it you actually need doing? And see if I can help you. What business are you in? To see if I want to help you. And, you know, what kind of numbers are you looking at? Because you might not be able to afford me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful. So the reason, so it's, you know how busy you are, you should always be thinking, well, we're busy right now, but we need to be booking in work in the future. And if you are getting too full and you're 6 months booked up, just keep your prices, raising your prices until you start losing people. You can always bring them back down again.
Yeah.
Now the reason, yeah, you know, the best place, one of the reasons for promoting yourself right now when you're too busy is, the first thing is it fills your pipeline. I mean, that's a no-brainer. There's probably nothing more satisfying for someone in that kind of business where you've got a constant flow of clients than having a full pipeline, full books, work booked up from, where are we now? Beginning of April nearly. Work booked up until June, like some of my copywriting friends are. Yeah, it's not really, I mean, that doesn't apply to us because, you know, we do an ongoing mentoring thing. So it makes no odds to us particularly. Sometimes we open the door, sometimes we don't. But to us, we don't have that kind of pipeline, not in terms of deliverables. If I was doing project work, I would. I'd have people booked up until July and August. You know, and it must be. Well, I suppose it is a good thing. It's like, I remember it from years ago, but I've not had that for years. Second thing is you have cash. You've got loads of work coming in, so you have cash. There's nothing quite so liberating as sitting on a pile of cash in terms of being relaxed about it and not needing it. You know, it's much easier to turn a job away or be relaxed about it and take the attitude of, well, what do you want? Can we help? Do I want to help? Can you afford it? Well, you don't need the money. Yeah. Dan Kennedy says he would stick to his rules, but he found it really hard sometimes because he just wanted to snatch their hand off. So you got cash. You know, money isn't everything. And I'll get a bit frustrated when people say the only people who say money isn't everything are those who are very rich or those who are very poor. Well, that's a false dichotomy, you know. Money isn't everything. If you're not happy without money, you probably ain't going to be happy with it either, because you're not a happy person. But the fact remains, having money solves a lot of problems not having money causes. How you feel about that is a different thing. Right? If I hadn't had the money to be able to pay cash for my eyes to be done with the lenses, I'd have been either on a very long waiting list for the health service over here, or do I just have to put up with having shit eyesight and getting progressively worse, you know? So not having money solves a lot of problems not having money causes. Third thing is you can then afford to experiment, not just in terms of you can afford a greater outlay on your marketing, because as we've said before, the one who's most prepared, the one who's prepared to spend the most getting a new client is the one who always wins. But also you can afford to try new ways. You can invest in new systems. You can afford to invest in speculative systems that may or may not work, because it doesn't matter if they don't. So you can test new advertising platforms, new sales methods. You can play with prices more. You know, you can play with putting your prices up and up and up and up to ridiculous amounts just to see how many people buy. Bearing in mind, you know, an increase in 10% increase on a 35% margin increases your profits by 34% almost. Well, you know, you can afford to lose about 34% of your sales on that kind of price increase with that margin anyway. So you know, you've got real luxury there. You can afford to experiment. And also your mindset will be, I hate to use that word because it's a wanky word used by a lot of wanky people for wanky reasons, but it's true. Your mindset will be so relaxed. You know, you not only will you have the cash and better afford to experiment, but you'll feel just so relaxed about it. You won't care. And there's I'm not very good at this myself, not on the receiving end, because I'm not very good at picking up body language and things. But I know from the other side of the coin, as a presenter or as a giver, as gay people might say, as a presenter, and from seeing it work with other people, how their businesses change and take this attitude. The more relaxed you are in a sale, the less you need a sale, and the less that need comes across, the more sales you will make. There's nothing as unattractive in anything like this as desperation and need. And people are funny things that, you know, people reckon they're nice and they're forgiving and they're empathetic and they're generous. But, you know, if a potential client gets wind of your desperation and they think they can screw you for a few grand, they like the power, really. If they think you need this side and they've got you over a barrel, they will fuck you over it. Yep. Not everyone's like that. I'm not. I remember one guy doing some videography for me, and he asked me, rather foolishly, he asked me, would you mind advancing me $3.5K now so I can afford a new computer? And I said, yes, I will, but don't ever ask anyone that question again, because you're lucky you asked me, because a lot of people would have screwed you over that. They'd realize you needed the money and they'd try to knock your money off your feet. I didn't, because I'm not dishonest like that. I've got integrity. But he was lucky it was me. If it had been a lot of these people, they'd have seen that opportunity, they'd have seen him over a barrel, and they'd have fucked him. Yeah.
Was that the A.W, his initials?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I know you're thinking it wasn't him. It's the one before him.
Okay.
Was that it?
Yeah.
And of course, the fifth thing, well, the follow-on from that is I stopped working with the original guy because quite reasonably, he attended my events because he was filming them. He put his prices up and priced himself out of my market.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's fine. I ain't got a problem with it. You know, I didn't expect him to do me any favors, but he was way undercharging. I mean, it's good to know that he took my advice. He took some money off me, did a great job, but also moved on to bigger clients. So that's great. Good luck to the guy. And the other guy came afterwards, recommended by him. So anyway, and of course, the fifth thing is you build momentum. That's kind of intangible, but I guess the way I would describe it best is nothing spurs, or certainly me on, and others from my observations of them, but nothing spurs people on quite as well as results.
No.
I mean, tangible results. I mean, we've spent a long time building these sales models. We spend time putting systems together, and and even though you know they're going to work because they just do. I mean, they might need tweaking and the details, and the devil is in the details. But, you know, they work because it's just form follows function and we know what we're doing. But it's still frustrating to put in a lot of work to build a sales system and not have made any sales with it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe you don't have lead flow, maybe you need to tweak your audience or whatever. But, you know, it's going to work. These things just do. It just takes a bit of time sometimes. Well, when you start getting that momentum, because you're busy, so you can afford to do a lot of shit, you can afford to experiment, you can actually afford to take time off the tools and think about this shit. You've got a relaxed mindset, so you're doing more epic and heroic kind of stuff as opposed to stuff that you're doing from desperation. You will build momentum, and you'll start to, momentum. You'll start going, and you start going faster, and the faster you go, the easier it is to go faster yet. You know, there's nothing to love about it, and all that's predicated on promoting yourself when you're already too busy. Because what the biggest mistake people make, and you know, I would guarantee that of how many downloads of this we get a day, 50 or something?
Anywhere from 30 to 70.
Okay, let's just say 50, a round number. 50 people a day downloading this at the moment. And there have been thousands of downloads over the course of the last 54 episodes, including this one. Of those 50 people every day, say they're all in construction, they're probably not, but say they all are. Out of those 50, probably 45 of them will be busy right now in the domestic sector. Yeah?
Yeah.
And there we go. This is all great stuff, John. We'll do it when we've got time.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it right now. And what will happen is when things, because what I'm predicting is going to happen, and I don't know what the timescale of this is going to be. I'll perhaps look into it. And even then, it will just be an educated guess. What's going to happen is the UK is in recession. The commercial side of subcontracting is fucked. So over the next few months, and we are talking of months probably rather than weeks, but probably not as long as a year. So over the next few months, these firms are going to go bust because some firms have been playing fast and loose with the furlough money. We've got the new VAT changes. There's just the sheer fucking buggery of COVID and stuff. A lot of these firms are going to go bust, which means the market will be flooded by skilled tradesmen, many of whom have perhaps not been in the game that long, so they're not masters of their craft, but they're competent. They will be launching themselves out as sole traders, and they will be working for maybe 120 quid a day, whereas a good craftsman might be at 200. So they'll be cheap. It's still more money than they've ever earned in their lives since they left college or whatever it is they do as apprentices. More money than they've ever earned before on site, but not as much as they should be earning to keep a business running, because they don't have any idea how to run a business. They've had jobs. So that will depress prices for everyone who doesn't know how to sell at a higher price. So eventually, and again, we're measuring this in months, not years, eventually these people will find themselves, shit, the market is now saturated by low-priced domestic tradesmen. What do we do now? Oh, we build a system, we fill our pipeline so we can have cash and afford to experiment, relax our mindset and build momentum. It's too late then. That's like finding the batteries for your fucking smoke alarm when the flames are licking around your feet as you stand on the step ladders. It's too late then. You know, a lot of the firms will survive, but they'll be back where they were. They don't seem to understand that no matter how good it is right now, this is the best time to be doing all this. It's almost like preventative healthcare. The best time to be looking after yourself really is when you're already well, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. When you're at your healthiest.
Yeah, the time to take note of how fat you are and how unhealthy you are is when you're actually quite fit and lean, so you can maintain it rather than try and build it, lose weight from scratch. Phil was posting about some guy, I can say his name because he was posting publicly, Paul Whitcher. He's gone from being, I guess, 48, 49 years old, just a typical fat middle-aged bloke, to being fucking outrageously lean.
Really?
Just coming up for 50, yeah. Congrats. A long, hard slog for it. Well impressive. I mean, he's had better results than I've got. My results are spectacular. But yeah, he's done brilliantly. But of course, just the same as me, if we hadn't got overweight in the first place, it would have been a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you guys listen to this. I know things are really easy now, and you're probably thinking, don't need you guys, but you don't need us, no, but you'd be a fool if you didn't take us up on our offers. Because we'll never be more affordable to you than we are now.
No, for reasons we cannot reveal.
Say again?
I said no, we won't for reasons we cannot reveal, but it's not really a big secret, is it? Prices go up. So today will always be the cheapest day.
Well, that's also true. That's not what I was getting at. My point was this: the difference between what they can afford now and what we are asking now will never be narrower.
Yeah.
Because as the market, our prices will only go up, of course, as a matter of course. And their rates might increase for a little while, but when recession really starts to bite and what comes to pass, what I've suggested is going to come to pass, they'll be able to afford it less easily. So the difference between what they want and can maybe afford to pay and what we're asking will be greater. We'll still get it because some people will pay it anyway. But it will never be easier for them than it is today. Those two lines will never be closer together than they are now. That's just the way of these things, And of course, the easiest way to fail at all of this, really, is going full circle back to Victoria's Secret. And that is to try to be all things to all men and women. Now, one of the things I said about you can afford to experiment, and this is really crucial, is one of the first things we get people to do, as we said, is to identify their ideal client. That sounds obvious, but there's a kind of a deeper thing in there as well. It necessarily means you're narrowing your focus. So you're selling harder to fewer people. You become a sniper's rifle like the M82, the Barrett M82, as opposed to a shotgun or a Purdy or something, The easiest way to get it all wrong is to start making some inroads, to start making some successes with your sales, like Victoria's Secret did, high-end underwear, lingerie, and then saying, and if we were then to spread this around to everyone or a wider market, we could sell even more. It's not how it works. Not only can you not sell to everyone because you can't solve everyone's problems and not everyone's a suitable buyer for you, from you, you don't want to either. We've touched on this before, but people talk about growing their businesses. There are some people who predicate their entire business model in our industry, who say, we're going to grow your business. Sometimes that's the last thing you want. If you grow a business just by adding more and more clients and an extra van with guys to fucking drive it and go and do the work, you tend to increase your profits linearly. What we want is a geometric, if not exponential, increase in profits. And you can only do that by increasing your prices, basically growing your margins. And margins are predicated on the difference between what it costs you to provide it and what you make from when you sell it. And the easiest way to fix that is to increase your prices. You can cut costs, but there are reasons you might not want to. And I personally think it's the wrong mindset thing to focus only on costs. They are important sometimes. We've done it ourselves in the past. But, I think there are better ways to do it.
So,
trying to be all things to all men and women, you end up being nothing to anyone.
And being nothing to anyone is a really shit place to be.
Yeah, you're essentially in the business friend zone, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't have any particular feelings there. All right, they're friendly.
Yeah, good bunch of blokes, really nice on LinkedIn. Wouldn't want to give them money though.
Yeah, because there's no compelling reason to.
No. But also, often if you're not promoting relentlessly and including offers and calls to action, all the rest of it, even if they want something, there's no compelling reason to buy right now. Dan Kennedy says, a call to action should be two things. One is the call to action, I want you to buy, and then I want you to buy right now. And you need reasons for both of those. The reason to buy is it solves your problem. The reason to buy right now is because this opportunity at this moment, it will never be cheaper, never be better, never be easier, more affordable, more accessible, whatever it is you choose. And when I say never be cheaper, I'm not trying to sell on price level. I'm just saying that prices always go up. So if price is a consideration for you, now's the time to get it, because it won't be cheaper next week. We don't do offers. We never do offers. We don't do free offers. We don't do free trials. We don't do discounts.
No. You want to buy our shit, you pay the price.
So that's it, really.
Well done. Proud of you. You're double Aspergered up today, aren't you?
Yeah, it's coincidental. I just found this hat this morning. I found this hat looking for a pair of socks. Beyond that, I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything else. How do you feel about people calling it Aspergers?
Well, I actually think that's, as far as I'm aware, I think that's the correct pronunciation.
Really? I find it so
it was Asperger.
Funny.
Well, I think because it was from the German, it was probably Aspergers.
Asperger.
But Americans tend to call it Aspergers, as in burger made out of an ass.
Asperger.
The British English pronunciation is more Aspergers with a softer G. Most people just call it Aspie.
Most people just call it fucking retards. Bury them.
Of course, one of the big contentious things that these people like to get themselves worked up about, people who care about this kind of stuff, is in the DSM-5, I think it was, and then the other one, the European equivalent, the IDC-11, they've lumped it in with autism. So now it's just a kind of handy descriptor for a certain profile on the ASD spectrum, which I'm perfectly okay with. But some people get angry about it to the point of, I was diagnosed as Asperger's and that's what I'm going to say I am. Well, the thing is, no one cares. You know, you want to call yourself fucking Asperger's, no one gives a shit. And if they do, they can't stop you anyway. I refer to myself as an Aspie because it's a useful shorthand. If I say I'm an Aspie, anyone who's got any kind of knowledge about this will have a fairly accurate idea of what that means in terms of how it affects me. Not in detail, but generally. Whereas if you just say I'm autistic, there's a much wider spectrum, much bigger spectrum, from the people who are Aspies like me, who superficially present as neurotypical, to the guys who are sitting in the corner throwing feces at the wall and can't toilet themselves. It's like, the fucking spectrum is very complex. If you say you're an Aspie, it kind of positions you quite tightly on that spectrum, which is useful.
Of course. And in a way, it almost softens the edges so people behave less weirdly.
I suppose so, yeah. Well, actually, that's one of the reasons a lot of autistic people don't like the distinction, because they get, and maybe they're right in a sense, maybe there is. They say there's a kind of Asperger's snobbery, as in Aspies look down on other autistic people, which is probably true.
That's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
It is, isn't it? But this is the kind of shit. I mean, after all, we are human. No, we're not
of course.
Human.
No, I know. I know. You've all got superpowers. You're all supercomputers.
I'll be honest with you, there is a certain amount of snobbery in saying, yeah, I'm an Aspie.
That's fucking hilarious.
And then they'll just say it, not only to neurotypicals, but to other autistic people too.
There's turmoil amongst...
There's dissent in the ranks.
I mean, I watched a TV show the other day called Murder Among the Mormons. Anger amongst the Aspies.
Well, you know what we call people who are self-diagnosed but still awaiting formal diagnosis? We call them plastic Aspies.
Plastic Aspies.
And it really winds up. I mean, I was a plastic Aspie.
You was?
And I'm telling you now, were we working together just before my diagnosis? I think we were, weren't we?
I don't think we're running a company together, but I think we was doing some work together, yeah.
I don't know if I knew you well enough at the time, because it's nearly 2 years ago now. I don't know if I knew you well enough at the time for you to realise how deeply that affected me before, how tightly wound up I was before my diagnosis.
Well, I certainly helped and saw the fallout.
Yeah, you did. I mean, Imogen and Sarah, Mrs. EBG, they said I was tetchy.
Tetchy John.
And they weren't wrong, because you got this, you see it in Holly now, you got this fucking thing of, am I making it up? Is this woman at the assessment, is she going to look at me and say, you're not fucking autistic, you're just a dickhead. You're just a jerk. Because there's two things there. As well, if I'm not autistic, am I making it up, or is there something else wrong with me? What the fuck is it? So when I got the diagnosis, she said, yeah, I'm diagnosing you right now, that's Asperger's. And, she gave me the formal numbers for the IDC-10 and as it was, and the DSM-5. And it was just this massive sense of relief. Thank fuck for that. I now know why I am the way I am and why my life is like it's been and is. It was huge. It was like, you know, you've had a belly full of beer and a pizza and a curry the night before, and you wake up and you've got that churn in your stomach. It was like sitting on the bar and letting it all go. That massive feeling of relief as all that shit drops out of you. Well, it was like that.
That inevitable,
Yeah, it was, oh, thank God for that. Honestly, it was fucking epic. Of course, that's just the beginning of it. I mean, as I said to Caroline when I went out, left the room, I said, you know, it's a bit strange because I'm the same. It's changed nothing because I'm the same man now as I was walking in here a few hours ago. But it's also changed everything. Because now I have a reason. I know why I am the way I am. But more than that, it doesn't just help me explain the past and the present, but it also, to a certain extent, dictates the future. And if not my results, certainly my behavior if I want to stay sane, you know. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Because you learn that some of these things, because you start to doubt yourself, you think, oh, I could do these things if I really wanted to. The right effort, the right course, program, cassette, mindset, coach. I could actually do these things. I just can't be bothered. But then to be told, well, no, you've got a neurological disorder, which means you'll never be able to do those things. It's two entirely different things. And it matters. Maybe it shouldn't, but at that moment it does. And coming to terms with that was quite traumatic at times. And I lost some good friends over it, one in particular. Well, it wasn't just that. I think that was part of it.
No, I recalled. I'm still caught up on the anger amongst the Aspie community. I just can't get over it, just because I know this is all online forums, because none of you cunts are talking to each other. It's all fucking online. And I just imagine some real fucking potato autistic motherfucker. Aspie! And then some smug
that's kind of what it's like.
Replying back. Oh, well, I'm Aspie, not autistic.
I'm no longer a member of any autism support groups on Facebook because they just piss me off so much. But for some reason, I seem to be following some on Instagram, and that must go back a couple of years. And they piss me off too. I mean, right now we've got people saying, you've seen the jigsaw puzzle piece they often use as a symbol of autism and Aspergers. Mm-hmm. Well, now, and there's an expression, light it up blue, which is from Autism Speaks, which is a vile organisation, which I do not support. I wouldn't use the phrase light it up blue because that's kind of their slogan. But the puzzle piece isn't confined to Autism Speaks. The puzzle piece has been adopted by a lot of autistics, including me, for various reasons. But you get these people saying, 9 things you must do in Autism Awareness Week. And it's about what we should do and what we should say to neurotypicals. And they're almost telling us, you must not use the jigsaw puzzle piece. You must say, light it up red. Well, my attitude is, you fuck off. I do what I like. You don't tell me what I can and I cannot identify with as a puzzle piece or anything else. You just don't. And they fucking whine. God, do they fucking whine? Whine. Fucking moan, just like me right now. So yeah, there's anger among Aspies. We look down on other autistics apparently.
Anger.
And we do. I won't deny it. There is a certain amount of truth there. But what are you going to do about it? You can't tell us to stop self-identifying as Aspie. That's what my diagnosis was. I'm not particularly wedded to it, but it's a handy shorthand. Yeah, it's nice. I think it's quite affectionate too, isn't it? My little Aspie.
It is. Yeah. And as I said earlier, it's sort of just it's a colloquialism, isn't it? So it kind of shows that. Oh,
it gets better.
Go on.
There is some evidence to suggest Hans Asperger was complicit in some of the atrocities, or certainly some of the nastier things done to autistic people by the Nazi regime. Other people say actually no, he was a little bit like Schindler and saved some. I don't know what the truth is, but there's two sides to it. That doesn't really matter. That's not the point. But there are some who say, and I've had this said to me, by the way, in my support of where people want to call themselves Aspies. That's up to them. It's none of your business. They've said, but if you do that, you are effectively supporting Hans Asperger, which makes you no better than a Nazi. Well, there's Godwin's law straight away. I'm a Nazi, apparently. And when someone says that to me, I don't argue with them. There's no fucking point. You know, you're clearly fucking deluded.
Well, you got the look for it. Bald, blue,
white. Blue eyes. Got the tattoo.
Got the tattoos.
Yeah. So, it's a hotbed. It's a hotbed of dissent and insurrection in the Aspie world.
I really cannot get over there's spoils among the spectrum. There's anger amongst the Aspie.
You can imagine it as being like a load of angry Yorkshire Terriers barking at each other, can't you?
Yeah. No, everyone's looking at the floor.
Where the fuck's that noise coming from? Oh, it's the Aspies, don't worry about it.
Just like a huddle of penguins just all sort of shuffling around, barking at each other.
I've got a fucking t-shirt and it just says Aspie on it. And it does draw attention from people who know what it means. And I mean, some of them are Aspies themselves, and you get to have a conversation about it. Parents of Aspies, and also it's just some people who are in the know. I remember once having a chat with a guy at the airport. It was on security. Hey,
if they were that,
leave you alone.
Yeah.
I was going through Gatwick, and the guy in security says, "Oh, you are really Aspie?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, what's his name? The singer of Tubeway Army, Gary, whatever his name is." Oh no, his fucking name now.
I have no idea what the fuck the name of that song is and who this geezer is.
No, it was the band. Gary Newman. Gary Newman's an Aspie. And he said, "Oh, Gary Newman's in the airport. You should find him and say hello." He's one of you.
He's one of your
I didn't actually. I did look for him because I like the band, and I'd like to have a chat with him. Not out of hero worship, but just something to do. But I didn't see him. I couldn't find him. But yeah, so you know, I wear the t-shirt. I wear the hat. Sometimes it's useful. Gets me to supermarkets without having to queue. If I ever get stopped by the police in the car, I can just play stupid.
Did you go cross-eyed and look at your toes?
Did you know how fast you were going? Did you, excuse me, sir, did you know how fast you were going? No, can't read. You know? Never mind that my IQ is probably twice your average copper's.
Not fast enough, not fast enough. Let me go fast.
I've got a gun. Bang.
I feel like the mood is too jovial to do it.
I think we've run out of time for 1 minute hate, haven't we?
Yeah, I do. We're kind of slacking on that respect, and we're meant to be keeping these.
I was going to say we've run out of time for a 1 minute hate. We'll do that on Monday.
We do it. Well, they'll be listening to this on Monday, so they'll get one Tuesday.
We can start that from tomorrow.
Perfect.
We'll start that from tomorrow's episode. All right. So if you want to attract better clients, sell them at higher prices, and have them delivered to you in a reliable, repeatable pipeline, so it's all done hands off on an autopilot, go to ottpodcast.co.uk and avail yourself of free resources. You might not think you need it. You probably don't, but you might want it because the current bounty, the current bumper harvest will not last forever. And it is going to be a little bit silly to try and get this stuff done when you need to rather than when you just can do, because it's fun and exciting and easy. And you're making more money with less work, less hassle, and fewer headaches. And even if you are doing well now, you'll be doing better, even easier. So no matter where you are, we will move the needle for you. So all we've done is shift the bell curve to the right. So everyone's doing better. Those who were doing really bad before will be doing okay now. Those who are doing okay will be doing really well. Those who are doing really well will be doing magnificently. Okay, but if you're doing really well, we can make you do magnificently. We can move the needle for everyone, as I say. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands. Please, 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 please do not look down on other autistics, John. And do not shit on your fingers. See that? Ta-da.